Never casually pity others. Ancient wisdom. Greetings, dear friends. Never casually pity others, especially relatives or friends. Be even more cautious. A soft heart is not a virtue but a hidden weakness. Deep emotions can easily lead to despair. Many tragedies stem from excessive pity for others, ultimately turning oneself into the pitiful one. A soft heart may seem like kindness at first glance, but in reality, it is blindness. It may appear compassionate, but it is actually weakness. Do not interfere in the karma of others. Matters that do not concern you, no matter what others say, do not argue. Even if they claim they can walk 1,000 miles a day, simply smile and agree. Interesting and profound people in life often know the truth but do not point it out, do not preach, and do not argue. Because the wise do not need teaching, the foolish cannot be taught, and the stubborn do not want to listen. If you pity someone, you will subconsciously take on their fate. Even kindness can bring trouble. Respect the fate of others, let go of old thoughts, and do not try to change them. Taking good care of yourself is the right thing to do. Do not easily offer pity to avoid misplaced kindness. Greedy people, when helped, if you cannot save them, may drag you down with them. If you cannot bear the pain of others, you may also suffer. If you do not know how to refuse, you will bear unnecessary consequences. The kind-hearted will surely receive good things, but blindly being a good person may not necessarily yield good results. As someone once said, boundless softness is meaningless. Kindness without limits leads to deep wounds. A soft heart is a disease. Excessive emotions can be life-threatening. Soft-hearted people often face many storms in life, while those with deep emotions often have shorter lifespans. Pitying others will eventually make you pitiful. Whoever you pity, you will bear their fate. Human relationships need distance. We can empathize with others, but actions must have limits. Doing something requires rules and standards. Let go of the mentality of saving others and respect their fate. Everyone has their own path. Let trees be trees and flowers be flowers. You are you, and others are others. That is our destiny. On the journey of life, there are 5 important lessons of wisdom. First, do not easily agree or pity, especially yourself. Be even more cautious. A soft heart is not a virtue. Deep emotions can cause harm. Many people, out of pity for others, end up in trouble themselves. The ancients said, lending is easy, but collecting debt is hard. Do not take this lightly, or you will regret it later. Second, do not covet small gains. Be wary of any kind of benefit. Pie in the sky often hides schemes. If it is not a trap, it is a snare. Some people, out of greed, fall into disaster. Third, protect yourself before helping others. Everyone wants to save others, but sacrificing yourself to save others is not wise. Life is more important than emotions, money, or fame. Therefore, those in love, do not let emotions bind you. Those who seek wealth, do not let assets imprison you. Those with fame, do not let public opinion hurt you. Fourth, handle things within your capacity. For things beyond your ability, avoid meddling to avoid taking on others' responsibilities and adding trouble. Finally, learn to leave to treat yourself well. Stay away from environments and people that drain you. Be brave, and let go. Trying to change others is like a moth flying into a flame. As time passes, you will realize that kindness and purity are often mocked. Helping others leads to betrayal, politeness is met with cold stares, and a simple life is not respected. Therefore, you gradually change, learning not to easily trust, not to pity indiscriminately, to act cautiously, and to stop trying to please others. This change is not to console yourself but to protect yourself. Remember, even close relatives need distance, otherwise, out of pity, you may unconsciously take on their fate. This advice may sound cold, but it carries profound meaning. It reminds us to be cautious when intervening in others' life paths, to restrain the desire to change their lives. In the past, I did not realize this, often considering myself experienced, eager to guide others. I once took pride in my charitable deeds. However, over time, I suddenly realized that my kindness sometimes hid harm. First, there was hidden arrogance in imposing personal views on others. We often unconsciously take our own values as standards to judge others' lives, forgetting that each person's understanding and desires for life are different. Perhaps what others seek is peace and simplicity, but we impose standards like lack of effort or ambition, interfering in their lives. Think about it. If you were in their shoes, would you want understanding instead of judgment? Like parental love, though deep, it can sometimes become a burden. Empathy reminds us that what we do not want, do not do to others. Moreover, life is like a book. Each chapter has its reason for existence. We can temporarily help others remove obstacles, but lessons not yet experienced or understood will eventually return in another form and become mandatory lessons on their path to growth. Our well-intentioned interventions not only fail to change their life trajectory but may also delay the growth and transformation they must undergo. At a deeper level, the perspective of an outsider is often limited by their own experiences and perceptions. As the saying goes, if a flaw does not benefit you, it cannot exist in you for long. This saying made me ponder deeply. In the past, I often relied on personal biases to advise others to abandon a relationship, seeing their partner as a flaw. But in this world, everything exists for a reason. Couples who seem incompatible may have strong and deep bonds in places we cannot see. We always think we understand everything, but in reality, we are like frogs at the bottom of a well, with limited vision. Therefore, our well-intentioned and self-righteous views may only be limitations. Meanwhile, maintaining distance and seeming cold is true respect and understanding. Compassion and help sometimes only bring fatigue and misunderstanding. Why is this? Because when we casually intervene, we may disrupt others' trajectories, reduce our own blessings, and disturb karma. The pain they endure may be the result of past bad karma. Our compassion is sometimes just a display of the strong's superiority, unable to truly solve their problems. Everyone has their own path. Only by experiencing and learning for themselves can they understand life's lessons. When they need help, appropriate help can show kindness. But when they do not ask, let them find their way back. Do not beg for affection, and do not let your energy be wasted. In fact, compassion should not be poured out indiscriminately. This is not a call for coldness but a reminder of deep understanding. Each fate is the result of intertwined choices and karma. Facing others' difficulties, think whether behind it lies traces of their autonomous choices. Compassion often makes us emotionally connected to others' suffering, making it hard to withdraw and unconsciously bear their fate. Therefore, facing others' misfortunes, be cautious in showing compassion. It may be where they temper and grow. However, we can still keep a kind heart, offering just enough support and encouragement, but remember to respect their freedom of thought and action. Maintain your boundaries, avoid excessive intervention. Only then can we both help others and protect ourselves. On the river of life, we may have wondered why well-intentioned deeds sometimes backfire. Not only do they fail to help others, but they also drag us into the abyss. The philosophy behind this is profound and complex. It reminds us that kindness and good deeds also need to be guided by wisdom and limits. Imagine a warm heart, thoughtlessly reaching out to help, seemingly sowing seeds of hope, but in reality, it may inadvertently sow the seeds of a future storm. This is evidenced by a real-life story shared by a netizen. His friend had a distant cousin. Initially, the cousin borrowed $5 million. The friend did not ask questions and immediately lent the money. Later, the borrowed amounts grew larger, sometimes tens of millions, with reasons like buying gifts for his wife. The friend thought it was his cousin, treating it as pocket money. But then, One day at 4 a.m., the cousin called, asking for 200 million, saying he was beaten and needed urgent treatment. The friend, then vaguely realizing something, did not say much, just replied, "Now I will transfer you 300 million, the previous money does not need to be repaid. But from now on, do not come to borrow again, I will not lend any more." Later, during Tet, he found out the initial borrowed money was actually used for gambling. The 300 million last time was indeed for treatment after being beaten. But the extra 100 million became capital for the cousin to gamble again and lose heavily. After losing the 100 million, the cousin started borrowing heavily, thinking he could win big to repay the debt. But by the end of last year, with interest, the gambling debt had reached 3.5 billion. The friend felt immense pain and regret, believing that lending the extra 100 million last time was a mistake, leading to today's consequences. Some relatives even spread rumors that he intentionally let his cousin borrow money for gambling, causing trouble for the whole family. He felt that kindness had been repaid with malice, causing a rift in family relationships. Through this story, he realized that one should not casually interfere in others' karma, nor casually change their fate, because when you take on their cause, you also bear their effect. This is not just a story about money and debt but also a deep analysis of the complexity of human nature. It shows us that when kindness is abused, when empathy loses boundaries, it can become fertile ground for nurturing evil. As in psychological theory, the malice of the helped, sometimes those helped not only do not feel grateful but also develop deep resentment due to imbalance and jealousy in their hearts. This psychological phenomenon is vividly described in Higashino Keigo's novel Malice, where extreme jealousy can devour all light and goodness. However, this does not mean we should abandon empathy and kindness. On the contrary, it reminds us that when doing good, we need a cautious attitude and wise choices. We must understand that each person's life journey carries its own karma and destiny. Our intervention may help them overcome temporary difficulties, but it may also disrupt their inherent growth trajectory. As in Taoist philosophy, the vast heavens and earth do not nurture rootless grass. The Dharma only reaches those with affinity. Each person needs to go through their own storms and challenges to grow and transform. This is an irreplaceable and unavoidable lesson. Therefore, our empathy and good deeds need to be built on a foundation of respect and understanding. We must learn to distinguish when to lend a hand and when to maintain an appropriate distance for others to save themselves and grow through adversity. At the same time, we must also be wary of the risks that our kindness may lead to dependence or malice from others. We need to ensure that our charitable actions do not become catalysts for others' downfall or decline. Finally, we should understand that a person's fate, no matter what, is written by themselves. Our kindness and empathy can be guiding lights, but they should never become excuses for others to evade responsibility or effort. In the complexity of social relationships, a thought-provoking law quietly emerges: those who have received your generous help, when the relationship breaks down, often retaliate more fiercely than any other adversary. The motivation behind this is their need to protect their self-image. They want to prove that you are wrong, to rationalize their betrayal, to convince everyone that the fault lies not with them but with you. Let's look at the story of a female entrepreneur to understand this better. She once helped a person in desperate debt. At that time, this person was like a beggar, hungry, penniless, and with nowhere to go. Creditors were constantly chasing him. He knelt down, begging for help in despair, and she, out of compassion, gave him a job, a place to live, and even full support for his life. She not only taught him how to work but also gave him gifts during holidays to comfort his homesickness. She even cared about his marriage, hoping he could stabilize his life here. However, life is full of changes. The person she helped eventually betrayed her. He quietly took away 60% of the company's important clients, started his own business, copied her business model, and used stolen resources to quickly grow. Not only that, he also spread rumors, slandering her as greedy, exploiting employees' rights, portraying himself as an innocent victim. Facing these baseless accusations, the female entrepreneur could only force a smile, her heart filled with mixed emotions. She wondered, if what he said was true, where did his wealth and success come from? This story is like a mirror reflecting the complexity and unpredictability of human nature. It reminds us that when giving kindness and help, we need to remain sober and vigilant, because not everyone knows how to appreciate and reciprocate with gratitude. Sometimes, the deepest wounds come from the most unexpected places. The greatest misunderstanding about people is perhaps thinking that kindness and generosity are always reciprocated with equivalent things. On the river of life, if you want everything to go smoothly, we need to remember a principle. Do not easily intervene in others' troubles, whether close or distant. Everyone has their own twists and challenges in life. This is an unavoidable path of growth, arranged by heaven and earth to temper and perfect their souls. Facing the difficulties of loved ones, we can gently guide, subtly remind, but remember not to directly intervene so they have the opportunity to realize and grow on their own. Time is the best teacher. Only by experiencing for themselves can people truly understand life's lessons. If we cross boundaries and intervene excessively, we are essentially taking on their fate. In the end, they may remain stagnant, while we ourselves fall into an endless vortex. Therefore, learn to let go and respect each person's journey, letting flowers bloom naturally and trees grow freely. That is true wisdom. Giving up excessive attachment and helping others is respect for their fate and true protection of our own energy. Looking back, I was also confused why sincere giving did not receive equivalent reciprocation, even leading to hurt. Now I understand that the root lies in the excessive desire to help others. We must know that not all difficulties require external intervention. Sometimes letting go and letting them face it themselves is the greatest compassion. In this process, we must protect our own energy, avoiding unnecessary depletion. When we intervene too deeply in others' karma, especially when we lack energy, we easily get pulled into their vortex. This is the subtle balance of heaven and earth. Therefore, when interacting with others, maintain an appropriate distance, intervene less in their choices, and add more understanding and tolerance. Everything in the world has its own timing and path. Our advice may temporarily help someone overcome thorns, but in the long run, it may deprive them of growth opportunities, inadvertently causing unseen harm. Therefore, learn to respect and understand the uniqueness and limits of each person. Do not rush to judge or intervene, but be a lighthouse illuminating the path ahead. As for their journey, let them decide for themselves. Only then can we find peace and happiness in our souls. Letting go and letting others be autonomous and respecting their life trajectory is necessary. When analyzing deeper, in everyday moments, facing the difficulties or stubbornness of acquaintances, we may easily develop the desire to help, even try to persuade, but often what we receive is only fatigue and misunderstanding. Pros and cons always go hand in hand, and what each person experiences has its reasons. Your kindness may not change their fate. Like doctors or Taoists, they understand that one should not easily interfere in others' affairs. Let all things develop naturally, and do not get entangled. From a deeper philosophical perspective, each person carries their own karma. If we are not yet fulfilled, but rashly interfere in others' karma, it only makes things more chaotic. Your wisdom, if it surpasses their level of understanding, will often be rejected. Even if they reluctantly accept, it is not out of sincerity. Only when they truly seek and desire advice should we respond briefly, avoiding excessive intervention. Do not delude yourself into being a savior in imagination. Remember that even the vast heavens only nurture rooted grass. Similarly, Our help also needs to be timely and appropriate to truly contribute to others' growth. In the vast journey of life, there are two profound and subtle wisdoms: seeing death but not saving, and seeing a path but not taking it. These two concepts are like the brightest stars in the night sky, guiding the wise to find their own path in a complex world. First, seeing death but not saving is not a display of coldness or indifference, but a high degree of self-control and deep understanding. In the era of information explosion, we often encounter problems that seem simple but are actually extremely complex. When seeking wisdom, they often choose silence. Not because they do not want to help, but because they understand that teaching how to fish is more meaningful than giving a fish. Remember this saying: do not rush to save others. Everything in the world has its destiny. Deep down, people often resist what surpasses their understanding and do not want to face superior wisdom. When your words surpass their understanding, they know that each person has a unique frame of reference, and forcefully intervening in others' karma can cause conflicts due to differing perspectives, even leading to unpredictable consequences. Like a gardener with plants, silent observation is sometimes more important than untimely watering or fertilizing. True growth often comes from the ability to explore the unknown and overcome personal limits. Moreover, seeing death but not saving is also a manifestation of self-protection and respect. In the process of helping others, we often unconsciously deplete our own energy and wisdom, especially when the issue raised surpasses the other's understanding. This depletion is not only significant but also hard to compensate. Worse, if the other does not understand or implement the advice correctly, the result not only fails to bring benefits but may also cause harm, even leading to conflicts. Therefore, the wise often choose a more cautious attitude, guiding only when necessary, instead of directly intervening, letting each person walk their own path, experiencing storms and reaping growth. Let's continue talking about wisdom. Seeing a path but not taking it. On the journey of life, we always encounter paths laid out by predecessors. These paths may be smooth or winding, but ultimately, they are others' experiences, not necessarily suitable for everyone. Therefore, seeing a path but not taking it becomes an act requiring courage and precious wisdom, demanding that we do not blindly follow, are not bound by existing frameworks or experiences, but combine our actual situation with external fluctuations to bravely explore our own path. This exploration is not reckless experimentation or adventure, but based on deep self-awareness and keen observation of the surrounding environment. This requires us to objectively assess our abilities and strengths, neither arrogant nor self-deprecating, while having enough courage and determination to conquer seemingly impossible tasks. Because, in this world, most people are accustomed to going with the flow, fearing loneliness, failure, and especially being different. However, it is those who dare to see a path but not take it who can stand out in the flow of the times, creating extraordinary achievements. Take the example of the live stream sales industry. When this industry was in the early stages, many people chose to imitate and follow the trend, trying to attract the vacuum of the hypothetical with scenarios and school forum screens. But as the market matured and the aesthetic appreciation of fake minerals was enhanced, those clever and good methods gradually lost their appeal. On the contrary, those who know the way but do not go not only consciously promote their advantages but also sensitively perceive changes in the trend foundation. Therefore, they stand out in the fiercely competitive environment and become leaders in the industry. Therefore, seeing the way but not going is not only a unit of behavior but also a transformation in thinking. This requires us to keep a sharp mind and a sensitive observation ability when facing the complex and changing world, relax through the wilderness and traditional limits to explore the broad, challenging fields. Only then can we go further on the journey of life, constantly surpassing ourselves and finally reaching our own brilliant peak. No matter how valuable, it is difficult to avoid danger. Therefore, If they are not proactive in seeking knowledge, do not turn yourself into a savior. Every journey of life is a mixture of hardship and growth. You have no right to deprive them of their ability to draw strength from adversity. Just as heaven does not nurture trees, and the path does not guide people without fate, you cannot study all the changes of the world. As the old saying goes, the mind does not enter the door conveniently, the teacher does not have the intention to find the way, the Dharma is not easy to spread, the path is not easy to recognize. Every life scenario has been written in advance. This journey is the path of awakening the soul. Everyone has to go through a lonely and arduous path, which is the place to test the soul, and only when they endure it themselves, can they truly mature. Only maturity can help you achieve perfection. The chaos of the greatest time is related to you. The joys or sorrows of others are just passers-by in your life. After all, life is a single act. From now on, devote all your mind to loving yourself. For things that are not related, pretend not to see, not to hear, not to care. The layer of love that comes from the outside, instead, embrace yourself. Enjoy the power to improve and perfect yourself, so that every experience in life is in harmony with valuable things. As your mind becomes more and more focused, your inner self will gradually become peaceful and strong. You will receive a completely new self that is silently shouting. Life does not need too many fakes, and you do not need to care about the process of others. Do not let yourself get lost in comparison, just make sure that you are better today than yesterday. The wise live true to their nature. The noise outside is just like drifting clouds. Why perform a play that does not belong to you on a stage that does not belong to you? When the night falls, throw away all the burdens to let your soul rest. When the dawn breaks, it is a new beginning. Those with fate, please remember, no matter how tolerant your heart is, do not easily interfere with the karma of others. Everyone has their own separate religious parts, that is the text they have to go through. Your advice may not change what has been defined, and may even cause unnecessary trouble. The careless choose to stay silent, the foolish try to decide the whole world. Respect other people's religions, understand their limitations, and be tolerant of their choices. This is the demeanor of a wise person. Wishing you a life filled with love and care. Wishing you happiness, peace, and all the best.